Alright, hey everyone, this is the promised video of showing like all of the drawings I've done in the past like 2 to 3 years. And this is like the bulk of all the drawings I've sort of done in the last like 4 years. I have like sketchbooks of when I was younger, like probably like 13 and below sort of, but this is like the last 4 years of when I've sort of taken like art more seriously. So yeah, if I know a lot of people always wonder like how long it takes to get to like a certain point in like art skill level or however you want to say it. So yeah, I guess if you've wondered like how many drawings is probably the best way to sort of like measure that sort of thing, then yeah, so I'm gonna be showing like as many as I can. It's a huge stack. I don't even know, like I'll kind of try to show, but it's like it's pretty deep and it is like a huge tub of drawings. So yeah, that's it's a pretty huge tub, and it's actually almost full too, which is pretty wild because I remember like putting in the first few drawings into this. So I think I'm gonna start from the top and then sort of work my way down. So I'm gonna go from like newest to oldest. Not really sure the best way to do this, but I guess I'll just have this like on my lap. Alright. I think I'll actually just have the tub on the side here. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna get started now. So this is a pretty recent drawing that I just did. I live streamed the whole thing on Twitch or not Twitch. Yeah, some of it was on, this half was on Twitch and then the other half was on YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel if you want to see the whole process. And same thing, I live streamed this one too. It is with some brush and ink. This is colored piece that I did. Just like a bunch of different characters and concepts. More character concepts. Some like squid army. If I'm going too fast, you could always pause it or put the video speed on a slower setting. Or if I'm going too slow, you know, you can always speed it up. Whatever's best for you. I do probably have like close to 1,000 drawings to get through, so it might be a bit, but yeah, these are all colored drawings that I did. Alcohol markers with Crayola for all the colored ones that I've shown so far. Yeah, these are all drawn with Crayola marker and then colored with alcohol markers. More Crayola marker, just line art. Line art. I was thinking of making a lot of these into coloring books. All of the Crayola marker line art that I have. Which I probably will once I scan these all in. Or take better photos of them. Yeah, if there's any drawing you guys want to see better, just pause the video, and pretty sure YouTube lets you zoom in if you're on your phone. more line art. This was a dip ink with brush and then Crayola marker, not Crayola marker, alcohol marker. I don't know why I decided to use the black. I think I was trying to test in like what it would look like with the black on there. This was sort of like automatic drawing with like not thinking while you're drawing with an alcohol marker, a black one. Oh shoot, I don't think I can show this full one. At least I'll have to bend the page a little bit. But yeah, this is just line art. Different characters with a little bit of dialogue. Pig. Kind of hard to slip this in. There you go. Hopefully nothing falls off my table. Oh yeah, this was ballpoint pen, and then I added alcohol markers over it, and it smeared all the ballpoint. But I really like how like the end product turned out on those. This was like a mini comic I did with just black. I think it was just a brush pen, and then I added shadows over with a lighter color. Oh no, a spot colored red to sort of like follow the story more, since it's kind of distracting with all the black. Trying to find out how that I can make that work. More colored stuff, but this was alcohol marker first and then pen over top. This is more I think this was Crayola marker. Just more of like automatic drawing stuff. Not really thinking too much. Just random doodles. I literally had like no idea what to draw. I was literally just like drawing random stuff. This was experimenting with black and white, and like harsh shadows, harsh lighting. Oh, this is really old. All right, it's a little bit jumpy on my drawings, like the times. So this is like a quite a bit older. Like this is one of my older ones. It's like just a little doodle on printer paper. I'm trying to draw with a brush pen. This was a study that I did from a Mongolian show. I forget. I can't think of the name right now. And this was like like some Korean war movie. I don't know the name of it, but yeah, that's what I used for reference. I haven't done reference. It's probably like one of the last times I used reference. Yeah, this one was old, like 3 years ago, 4 years. Maybe, nah, not that old. Maybe like 2.5 to 2 years. And this was brush pen sketch. Another brush pen drawing. I don't know why I was trying to draw on printer paper. I thought it'd be like a lot less stress since the paper wasn't that high quality. This one was kind of cool. It was like literally just practicing wolf faces. And so I just did that across the whole thing, and then decided to like make it sort of into a little drawing. More brush pen drawing. This was fairly recent, maybe like a couple months ago. Some normal dip brush with alcohol marker. More brush pen doodles. I'm pretty sure this was like with a brush that I kind of just wanted to get rid of the ink and just use it up. Oh yeah, this is some alien drawings. This one's pretty cool actually looking at it now. I haven't seen that one. I sort of just drew it and then put it away into this tub right away. More ink, kind of playing around with the lighting. This is pencil. I like rarely use pencil. This is probably one of the only pencil drawings you guys will ever see. More brush pen. A ton of stuff happening on that page. More brush pen. This is pocket brush. Like I was playing around with water effects. I did just my seat quick. I'm gonna be here for a bit. Yeah, this brush pen, and then doing like some random water effects with it. Hopefully my tub doesn't fall off. More. Yeah, this was a brush pen too. Just like I was really trying to mostly get like a handle on like how to use it and get used to it. This was brush pen, found ink in it, and then using like a watered down to shade. And then I think it's alcohol markers. Yeah, pretty sure it's alcohol markers. This is like what I would do in my sketchbooks, but then doing it on a bigger page, basically. Oh god. I just saw one of my drawings was kind of wacky. This is the same thing, same sort of like just characters. There was like a little time period when I was really into doing monochromatic, but like, yeah, this is probably one of my weirder phases in art. Yeah, it's all like I was really into like polka dot like splatters with the ink, and then all in green because I was super into green at this point. But yeah, kind of scared me when I flipped through the tote there for a second. All right, this is a ton of line art characters. I remember I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a coloring book, and then so I was gonna fill it with as many characters as I could. So like, where's Waldo sort of thing. Well, let me adjust this light. Alright, hopefully the lighting's a little better. I sort of have a shadow here because of how my system is right now. And this tote and the paper is kind of so much for the table I'm working with. Anyways, yeah, it's a ton of characters if you can see it. And I didn't finish because I got sort of burnt out at the end there. And same thing as the green, but this looks a little more pleasing on the eye, I think, because it's just purple. So yeah, not as frightening. I was trying different water effects with ink. And this is pretty cool. I don't really use this though. It's really hard to get like a use out of this besides like fur or like, I don't know, I haven't experimented with it enough. But like basically like wet on wet, sort of add in water first and then ink, and then it like spreads and does wild things. Yeah, all blue. I feel bad for my marker having to cover a whole page. Yeah, and this is same thing but all red. And then I used like a white gel pen ink over top of it to add highlights. This was the first one of the solo color drawings. This was brush pen. Oh, it's actually a two-part piece. I remember I was kind of into doing this, like a 2-page spread sort of thing. If I can get it lined up. Yeah, I remember this was pretty cool when I recorded it. There's a video on my YouTube of this drawing if you guys want to see it. Somewhere buried deep in the 300 and some videos that I have now. This was practicing aggressive brush strokes to try to get some sort of scene going. It wasn't very successful. I couldn't get like any detail out of it, but I was trying to like own. I didn't know that you would need like a variety of strokes to sort of make it work. Yeah, more. This was more brush pen drawing. I can't remember what I used to shade this. I know what this is. This was a different ink, like a bluish ink. Made a different color. Sorry for the background noise. That's my rabbit. Chewing on a cardboard house. Oh, this was drawing with both hands. So I was like dual wielding brush pens and went through and draw it. I have a video on my channel too. Same with this one. This one is pretty cool. I had two fountain pens, one that was red ink and is a fountain brush, and I had one that had red ink and one that had black. And then I was using the red ink for also light skin tones. But I kind of like how this one looks. Looks pretty cool. And then same thing with this one as well. I was trying to do like more of a scene with it. Pretty clean, honestly. And then same thing, except this one's vertical and the perspective twists around. I'll see if I can try to show this one on camera. Yeah, so it starts here with like a fisherman. He's giving the fish to like this kid, and then he's running off, and this warps like the dock, and then there's different characters, and it sort of goes into different little stories. And then obviously always add a zombie to every drawing. And speaking of, the next one has zombies. Oh yeah, this is like all zombies. Yeah, so this is another like two-part scene. So the right side is just this zombie, and then sort of like apocalypse scene. And this is like some sort of like military coming out to this the water, and there's just zombies, and there's a cabin in the way back. Yeah. Oh yeah, and I connected it with like this pole with the bridge, sort of like bend into the next scene there. Using some of the red ink for the wine. I really liked doing that. And just more perspective stuff. These little guys, squishy looking guys. And some noodles over there. Oh, thought this page was blank for a second, but it was upside down. More characters. This was with alcohol marker, I think. Yeah, this was with a fat alcohol marker. And this was with a watercolor marker, I think. Pretty sure. Basically pretty similar to, I think it was a Winsor Newton watercolor marker. I was just trying like every brand of markers. I don't know which way this goes, but it's a lot of upside down characters. Sort of just like more automatic drawing stuff. And there's a tiger over there. More automatic drawing stuff. Yeah, I was pretty into drawing with alcohol markers and doing like a very flowing, trying to get into like a pure flow state without thinking. A bunch of drawings like that. This was alcohol marker with more alcohol marker over top, and then some wash thing. I did ink over alcohol marker. That's what it's so like brownish. And these are pretty hard to see, but this was brush pen, I'm pretty sure. Brush pen drawings. More alcohol marker. There's like some dragons, rabbits. And I tried making like the white space into like a bird and different things. And this is pretty similar. I was trying to experiment with like making the white space into something while leaving it like separated from the other things. That was a sort of like whole period that I did. That was just this style of drawing. You'll probably notice that like I never. Yeah, I like switched styles a lot. This is pretty cool. It's like one big dragon with a bunch of characters, like scattered in creating the dragon. It sort of like changes between like mechanical to like organic shapes. More brush pen. I was just trying to get like as hyper detailed as I could with a brush pen, like, and make it as the mechanical parts as crazy as possible. It's just kind of fun. Well, this was like a mini comic that I was gonna do. I never finished it, but I remember really liking the helmet effects that I was getting with the alcohol markers on top. And I was gonna do a sort of style, like it's very kind of cool. But then there's like sort of scenes. This is the last page that I got to. I only did 3 pages, but this is another one of the pages. He's like a ice wizard sort of thing, and he's this planet that they're on, and there's these different plants. These are like plants with rocks, and they're attacking, and it's just sort of like the blue guy is on the wizard side. He's like a royal guard with him. And then this is the first page. I drew this entire page with just alcohol markers, and I started with I think a gray, and then added red on top with and then went to color after that, and just did value. And yeah, just sketching with lighter ink and then going dark. Some of these are gonna start getting pretty old. There's a kitty cat. And just a normal pen pen drawing. I remember I was pretty hyped about drawing with Crayola markers at this time. Yeah, this was with it's kind of funny, but I ordered like a pair of Crayola markers, and I thought they were gonna be like the slimmer ones that are just like skinny. I thought they only had 2 sizes, like the skinny Crayola markers, and then like the huge, like the thicker nib ones. And I thought I ordered the skinny ones, but then they ended up being like, I guess they call them like pipsqueak skinnies, which are basically like very tiny Crayola markers. And I ended up that's what I drew with these, and colored that one. It was pretty fun. Lots of pen drawings in between. This is probably like almost 2 years old at this point, or at least a year and a half. Not really sure on like the time zone. But if you watch some of my other sketchbook videos, you'll probably like see some of the like the styles I was using. Like the red with the black is the same at the same time as my first sketchbook. So yeah, these are about the same time that I was doing my first sketchbook. All these red and black ink ones. Messing around with some warped perspective. Yeah, this is probably gonna be a long video because I'm like almost halfway down the tub. So yeah, sorry if you wanted a shorter video, but I just have way too many drawings. And I really wanted to show the ones that weren't in a sketchbook because there's like a ton that weren't in a sketchbook. Some later video I'll probably show like some of my drawings as a kid. Maybe like compare them to my art now. See the difference. That could be kind of fun. These pages are so long, I can't really show it all in one shot. Probably set these on the floor. I'll put these over to the side so it's not like raising up. It was starting to raise up all the paper, and then you couldn't really see the drawing as well. Pretty much the same as if I started zooming in the camera. Well, apparently I got some blank paper. Blank paper. Blank paper. Oh, I think this was like a divider in my tub. I actually tried filming a video like this like a year ago, and I got like so tired like halfway through the video. I'm like, there's no way I can do this. And I was like, no one probably wants to watch this anyways. So I just never uploaded it. I'm pretty sure I even like deleted it. Deleted the video of these. I've been getting so many comments about people asking to do like a sketchbook flip through or something similar. So I just decided I was gonna go through and actually do it. Plus there's like so many more drawings than there was a year ago. Bunch of line art. Yeah, I think I was doing like a more simplistic style at this point because I really wanted to do a coloring book. I am sort of planning on all of like my straight line art only drawings to put them all into a coloring book. So that might happen eventually. Also planning on putting like all my drawings and scanning everything and then make it into one big like sketchbook to actually make it something that's like print on demand. Lots of line art. Like his hair. Yeah, you can already tell at this point. A lot of my faces weren't the greatest at this point. But it just kind of shows like how fast that it doesn't take that long to get good at drawing. And I wouldn't even consider myself really that great, but just like a lot of improvement since this point. I used to draw like so big too. Oh, this was like one of my first scenes that I did. I remember I used reference for the tigers, but everything else was just like pen. I think, yeah, I sketched it out with like pencil, but this is like pretty old. Some of the characters and stuff. It's like I did have a lot of depth in it though, more depth than I do in some of my drawings now. But yeah, it's just kind of funny. It's cool seeing the older it is, especially when it like at the time it was I felt like, oh my god, this is like my best work, you know. At the time I felt like that for a few of these. Like this one I felt like I was like, oh, I love how the I think it's like a boar or bear. Some animal. I liked how the shading was. Oh gosh, this was like attempt at a comic sort of thing. I remember I wanted the panels to be a lot different than like a normal comic. It's just some old pen drawing. Yeah, this is like a different era almost of my art. It was gel. I was experimenting with gel pens, seeing what they could do with water. The pen drawing. Around this time, I did a lot of like 8 feet long like pieces of paper and like was filling them with drawings. So most of these drawings like were sort of just on the side. Like most of the main drawing that I was doing was on like a wall, basically like a 8 foot roll. I would stretch along the wall and then like draw on it until it was full, and then at the time I was just doing like one video every roll, and then that's all I'd kind of do. And then, oh yeah, this was kind of fun. It's pretty crazy. I didn't even use reference for this. It was just sort of like rendering with a ballpoint pen. It's a pretty good face though. Nowadays I rarely do a head-on shot. Sort of always like some sort of tilt or angle to it. More this was like sepia, I think it's called, color for brush pen. This is a two-part drawing. I think it went this way. It's almost too much for the camera. Let me see. Sort of able to get it done. Oh shoot. Don't want to drop my camera. But yeah, it's a two-piece drawing with pen. We have a machine city in the back. I thought this drawing was like great, and then I made a recording on it, and then realized that the color was like way too light, and it shows up horrible on camera. But yeah, it's like a perspective. I was really happy because it was like I was like following the fish islands sort of grid like in my head as a straight pen. But yeah, this one is pretty cool. This is a bunch of wolves drawing. This is one of the first drawings that I posted on TikTok that actually like it got like a couple hundred views, and I was like, oh dang. Like it was like surprising to see that people liked my arts. Which was this one I was pretty happy about too. And now looking at it, it's kind of weird, but I think I was happy with like the amount of black I used on it. More fisheye. I was trying to draw a factory. Pretty. This one was pretty cool at the time. I think I used like a dip ink, some Winsor Newton ink, I think. This is still one of my favorite drawings actually. Is a brush pen and just like loaded it with samurais, and I tried to get like as much depth as possible. So yeah, this is probably still one of my favorite drawings. Also one of my first YouTube videos. Although the video didn't do well, it was kind of like a bummer. But, this was like some sort of like horse race with green Crayola marker. Was like I said, I was obsessed with green drawing stuff. As well as brush pen with some shading. I remember I was really happy with how realistic it got, but it took me like 2 hours, I think, just to like do these two characters. Something around like that. I was like recording on time lapse speed. Alright, this is gel pen with water. Finer brush pen. Alright, this one's pretty crazy. It's I can remember. I think I penciled. I think I penciled it out and then did like ink washes over it, and it just went darker and darker. At the time, I thought that was like pretty dark, but like now I'm like, oh, it needs way more, needs way more value. But at the time, that's kind of all I knew, so it's kind of an interesting thing to look back on. Like even now, I'm always like, oh, it needs something different, or it needs something more, but I don't quite know what it needs. And then you look at it back later, and you're like, oh, I know exactly what it needs. It's because like I've gotten so much better since then. Crayola marker. I watched this video on my TikTok a couple days ago, and I thought the page was like way smaller, but this is like huge paper. It's like 11 by 17. Nowadays, I would like do something similar in just like a small sketchbook. I guess now I just draw way smaller. I remember I was looking at a bunch of Frazetta art, and everyone was saying for composition that you could basically just do a triangle and like your composition would work out. So then I just basically did that. Some space things, some Max. I think I was working on a comic at this time. I remember I was like super studying anatomy, mostly for the comic. Some pen. Gel pen. Some like watery looking art. This was the other half of this one. The one behind there, but yeah. I was pretty into like morphing things into other things. Yeah. Oh yeah. This character is like morphing into these other things. sore in a few different ways. I don't really remember. It's been so long. Oh yeah, this was perspective, practicing perspective. And drawing with brush pen. Is a 2-page. Let's see. Yeah, it's like this. Is that 2-page piece that I did in small sketchbook. Think some fine liner pen. Using the water to shade. I think this is another 2-piece. Maybe. Oh no, I think it's just a single. Yeah, this was more. At this time, I was experimenting with like what inks spread with the water. This was a watercolor. Oh, apparently, apparently it connects down here. I think. But yeah, this is the Windsor Noon watercolor markers, which I don't use anymore. But at the time, I really liked the watercolor effects. See, I don't know how these connected. It was like a lot of 2-piece drawings. It's kind of funny that I remember a little bit of gist of what side they went on. I don't think it's right though, but oh yeah, it's not right. What? I'm not sure. It's been so long. Like 3 years ago. And it's kind of crazy. Some of my drawings from back then seemed like they were like way ahead of my other ones, and some of them are like very close to ones I did like very recent, like a half a year ago, 6 months. It's kind of creepy almost. Some pen. And then some of my other drawings were like, wow, this. I don't know what I was doing back then. Some different pens. This one's pen, and then the other ones are Crayola marker. Hopefully the lighting's not too terrible. It's really hard to like light a big surface like this and not have shadows. This was more of the Winter Noon. Alright. This one is a little too big for it to show the whole thing. I can maybe show like half of it at a time. But yeah, so it's a huge dragon head in the middle here. And then it connects and then it goes into like a city. I can't really go too far down. But there's a bunch of characters down. If you really want to see the whole thing, there's a video somewhere deep in my YouTube of it. It would probably be pretty easy to find. It's like something on the cover with that. Yeah, this one I thought was cool at the time because of how much black I used. It was like a dragon. I was really big into like doing like a big object and then a bunch of small things around it, and oftentimes a dragon was what I chose. There's a perspective practice, sort of like fisheye. I feel like I was a lot cleaner at doing like fisheye then. Like now I don't use like grids in my mind really. It's sort of just like how objects sit next to each other, or how they're like arranged in a row in perspective. So I don't really think about like grids anymore. But it's kind of cool to see how by the grid I was back then. This one was I put a lot of time into. It was like ink washes with ink. And I penciled this one out beforehand. More ink with wash. I was pretty happy with like the effect of that one. I remember like using this on a lot of a few thumbnails for my wall drawings. And more this pen. Wait, no, this was brush pen, and I was trying to like a flat black like nighttime thing, but it didn't really like go well. It kind of just made like my lines weren't strong enough to complement with that much black. This one is had to have been pretty. This one's not that old, I don't think. It's like still like a year and a half maybe ago. But yeah, not as old as some of these other ones. More brush pen. I was trying to sort of like force the brush pen into into being like usable. It took so long to be able to use it. I think it's definitely worth it though, with how easy it gets to create certain effects with just a brush pen. Like the fact that it can do a lot of different lines. This was all Crayola marker. It was pretty crazy actually. I feel like even today I probably couldn't do something like that looks quite like that. Pretty surprising that I also had perspective in that too at the same time. Panda bears. And then I threw a watercolor on, but I forgot to like desaturate it in water, so it ended up like very, very, very strong blue. And I also chose the wrong colors. I think I chose blue and then was like, wait, these are pandas. They're supposed to have blue on them. Crayola markers. This one is pretty cool. I like the colors. Uh, yeah, this one is pretty one of my favorite drawings that I did. It was full Crayola marker, like I sketched with the Crayola marker, like how this guy is up there. And then I probably shouldn't touch it too much because Crayola marker likes to be messy. But yeah, I was pretty happy. It was sort of like painting with Crayola markers. Is how that went. And then same sort of idea with just full Crayola markers. And that yellow, I loved it because it was so vibrant. I never finished the zombies. And he's supposed to be like on. I got burnt out after the water. 'Cause I was like good with the guy, and then I got to the water. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do this much water with markers. Like I took trying to get a water effect. It was pretty draining. More Crayola marker coloring. More Crayola marker. I think, or it's red pen. I don't know. One of the others. This was kind of an interesting idea that I had. So basically, I would like draw like this sort of shape, and then like it was just like a random, like just random strokes around the page, and then whatever shapes it created, I would draw inside these shapes, sort of like comic panels, and you'll get it, understand in a second with these other ones. This is when I first got the Pipsqueak Skinnies, they're called. Yeah, the name's kind of different, but yeah, I was trying to paint with them or like figure it out because it's pretty hard. And I ended up like the ones I just showed were sort of like the final product of experimenting with them. But yeah, so I would draw like the random shape if you can see with the orange, and then the ink and and then I would just draw inside the ink, and they're all like different stories that I could sort of fit into these different shapes. I stopped doing it after a while though because I realized I couldn't fit much in some of these shapes. But like in the beginning, it was pretty fun, especially while I had like ideas fresh, and some of them turned out pretty cool. Sort of like mini comic scenes. And I did quite a few of them with brush pen. I was gonna do like a huge wall drawing on the 9-foot paper, but I tried like a smaller one beforehand on like, I don't know, it was like maybe like 3 by 3, some square sheet, and I got, I actually didn't finish that one, I don't think, because it's probably somewhere in a closet. But yeah, I did so many of them that I got actually burnt out from the idea, even though it's pretty cool. And the shapes were just like very abstract, and it works well with the pen. Got a bunch of different, you could actually like draw inside them. Maybe I'll go back to trying one of these. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. It looks like water droplets almost. And then I had the same idea, but to actually draw like a wolf or a dragon or something, and then have different character panels within the like connecting lines. So yeah, you can't really, yeah, it's like a wolf, and then all these are in between. It was a little hard to make it still look like a wolf and also have the characters in it at the same time. And this is a watercolor marker, the Winsor Newton one. Yeah, I didn't really care for that marker too much. The lines were like way too thick. And there's no way of with how the nib was. There's no way of having much variety in the lines. But I did like the color that it creates. When you add water, it actually makes like a very good watercolor blue. I think this was a blue gray. I'm trying to think of the name, but it's a blue gray watercolor marker, which is like very close to black. And I tried these for a while. Sorry for putting these the wrong way, but the paper is so long that it's really hard to show this all in one shot. Or I could put more of this paper on the floor. Right. Yeah, just more watercolor marker. I was like really trying to make this work because it made some like really nice transitions between the shadows. Like the effect it had with the water was like really good. But the actual drawing with the lines sort of sucked. Unless you have like a huge piece of, like this is even, wait, this is 11 by 17 or bigger, I can't remember. But it's a pretty big sheet of paper, and even on this, it's pretty hard to get lines. Oh man, I went for a run earlier today, and when I put the papers on the ground, my legs started cramping. It's another watercolor. is sort of like a twisty train that loops around. This is Crayola marker. I remember trying like multiple colors on a single page. I sort of like split up the characters from each other. More Crayola markers. Oh yeah, this one was like I wanted to do the whole thing in all blue. So I grabbed every blue Crayola marker I had and then did it all in blue. Which is pretty cool. Looks like water. This was a pen drawing. Alright, this one. This is like one of the first YouTube videos that I started talking in with my voice. And I just like sat down, I grabbed a random pen out of the drawer and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna record a video. Yeah, and then I like spent two separate days doing this one. And I don't know, I was just talking about like random stuff. It probably has some good info in it. Probably talks about whatever I was learning at the time. More brush pen. This had to have been pretty recent. By recent, like a year ago. Yeah, this is probably a year ago. I can almost like check my YouTube of when this was. I also did a video on this. This was the second one that I did while talking. I was pretty nervous about doing a video with my voice. This was like, I don't know, some pencil sketch. Some comic thing that I was trying to do. Alright, piece of paper, probably to stop that from smearing. Another Crayola marker. This time with, oh, I guess the other ones I used water. But yeah, I really like that the green, when you added water, it turned into like a different color almost. Makes for a cool effect. Some comic stuff. Comic page that I never finished. The whole top part's not inked. Some ballpoint. Yeah, this was ballpoint. This one's pretty old. Like pretty old. Ballpoints. And yeah, I didn't really go back to it much often after that. Crayola marker with a ton of water. The blue is so bright. Brush pen. My gladiator. I really like drawing garbage for background. Or like background things like garbage bags, and it kind of adds some feel. More brush pen, early brush pen drawings. This was attempting to color a whole page with Crayola marker, and I didn't get that far. A lot of the ones that I stopped coloring or didn't finish is probably a good thing. Now looking back on it, there's probably not much I would have gotten out of those. This was drawn with a brush. This one turned out pretty good. I remember I was working on one of the 8 feet like wall drawings. I haven't shown those in a while, but I have one in my room that I'm working on. I'll probably show at the end of the video. Otherwise, it's on my channel, so. I haven't really worked on the wall drawings too much lately, because I don't know, I don't really know what to do. Like I'm trying to think of like an idea of sort of what I want to put on a drawing that big. Where before I used to just basically start drawing and just draw anything. But now I'm kind of a little more into like making stories or scenes and using more perspective. So if I think of an idea, I'll probably start working on that again. And it's also kind of tiring working like vertically. My shoulder is not ready for that. And it puts my wrist at like a lot worse of an angle than just sitting down. And it's also very hard to record that way, since I have to like start drawing on the wall, and then if I fill an area, I have to check and make sure it's on camera. Or like right now, if I was drawing on this page, it's like I can just look at the camera, and it's pretty like I'll know if I'm in the right spot. This was charcoal, which is pretty cool. I remember I went a little too dark on the values, but like maybe not. It doesn't look as bad as I used to think it did. The camera actually makes this one look better, better than it actually looks in real life, I think. Or maybe, yeah, because certain things are like lighter on the camera and it makes it look better. But yeah. And I think we only have a couple more. Well, another charcoal drawing. Oh, wait. Yeah, this is a pen, brush drawing. And then the last drawing is a charcoal drawing. Yeah, the charcoal was pretty fun. I like the values you could get. It's just it was so messy, and I sprayed them so that they would stay, wouldn't smear everywhere. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I'll quickly show. Yeah, so this is like the wall drawings that I used to do. It's sort of like, now I have a roller over there that it's sitting on, and the idea is to spin it through out the other end onto that roller, so it's just gonna be sort of like a whole roll of my drawings. So someday I'll start doing that again. But yeah, you can I have it like decently filled with Crayola marker drawings, but now I've been using brush, so I'll probably just randomly start it again when I feel like it. But lately I've just been doing like live streams on smaller paper, and I'm really big into sketchbooks right now. So yeah, I think that's gonna be all for the video. I've been talking for an hour straight. A couple more because I was filming earlier today too. And so yeah, if you guys like the video, you like seeing some of my past drawings, all I really have past these is like old childhood drawings, and then I have a couple of sketchbooks of like when I was practicing anatomy and just like following books, but most of those are like reference drawings, so they're not that exciting. But these are all like basically only like two drawings out of this whole stack are like actual I used reference on. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Subscribe, like, normal, the normal YouTube spam stuff. No, but it actually does help the channel a lot. It boosts my videos to potentially get more views and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm pretty close to getting monetized on YouTube. I think like the main thing I need is watch time now, I think. I have like I'm like maybe like a third the way there, but it's like pretty close. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you all later.